The year is 1940. Jean-Paul Sartre finds himself imprisoned in a German camp during World War II, surrounded by barbed wire, deprivation, and the looming despair of war. Sartre does something remarkable. He begins to write. In the confines of his captivity, he drafts the ideas that will form the foundation of existentialism, a philosophy that challenges and empowers us to confront the reality of our own freedom. Sartre's experience illuminates a profound paradox. Even in the most oppressive circumstances, human beings retain the power to choose their attitude, to create meaning, and to assert their existence. This story sets the stage for exploring the core of Sartre's philosophy. Sartre summarized existentialism best in his lecture titled "Existentialism is a Humanism," where he declared, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself." But what does this mean? Unlike philosophies that seek universal truths or predefined essences, existentialism begins with the individual, you, me, and the choices we face. Sartre argued that existence precedes essence. In simpler terms, we are not born with a predetermined purpose. We exist first, and through our actions, we define who we are. To illustrate, think of a blank canvas. The canvas doesn't dictate what should be painted. The artist must decide. Similarly, we are the artists of our lives, responsible for creating meaning where none inherently exists. This is both liberating and terrifying. With no divine blueprint or societal rules to fall back on, the weight of responsibility falls squarely on our shoulders. To understand Sartre's philosophy, it helps to trace the roots of his thinking. Born in 1905 in Paris, Sartre grew up surrounded by books and ideas. He was deeply influenced by German philosophers like Martin Heidegger, who explored questions of being, and Edmund Husserl, the father of phenomenology. But Sartre's experiences during World War II were pivotal. Sartre's imprisonment exposed him to the harsh realities of human existence, suffering, powerlessness, and the absurdity of war. Yet, even in captivity, he found agency. Writing became his act of resistance, his assertion of freedom in a world that seemed to deny it. This conviction, that we are always free to choose our attitude and actions, became the cornerstone of his existentialist thought. For Sartre, freedom is not a gift, it is a burden. He wrote, "Man is condemned to be free." This paradoxical statement reveals the crux of his philosophy. To be condemned to freedom means that we cannot escape the responsibility of choice. Even refusing to choose is, in itself, a choice. Consider a mundane example. You're invited to a social gathering, but you don't want to go. Instead of declining outright, you make excuses. "I have work. I'm not feeling well." Sartre would call this bad faith, a self-deception where we deny our freedom by blaming external factors. In reality, you are free to decline. The excuse is an attempt to avoid the discomfort of owning your decision. If we are entirely free, who do we blame for our failures? Sartre's answer is harsh but honest. No one. Freedom comes with responsibility. But within this burden lies empowerment. By embracing our freedom, we gain the power to shape our lives authentically. No discussion of Sartre is complete without addressing the role of others in shaping our identity. In Being and Nothingness, Sartre introduces the concept of the gaze. When another person looks at us, we become aware of ourselves as objects in their world. This realization can feel alienating. For example, imagine tripping in public. Alone, it's merely an accident. But under the gaze of others, it becomes a moment of shame. We see ourselves as they might, clumsy, embarrassed. This dynamic highlights the tension between our freedom and the judgments of others. Yet, Sartre argued that this tension is a necessary part of existence. It's through relationships and interactions that we define ourselves. Sartre's existentialism is not a detached philosophy. It demands action. In the aftermath of World War II, Sartre became a public intellectual, advocating for political engagement and social justice. He believed that freedom is meaningless if it doesn't translate into action. Consider the ethical implications of existentialism. If we are free and responsible, then our actions must align with our values. Sartre emphasized authenticity, living in a way that reflects our true beliefs, not societal expectations. This idea resonates in contemporary debates about identity, purpose, and morality. For instance, climate change presents an existential challenge. Sartre would argue that acknowledging the problem isn't enough. Our freedom obliges us to act. Whether through advocacy, lifestyle changes, or innovation, we must take responsibility for the world we inhabit. Of course, existentialism is not without its critics. Some argue that Sartre's emphasis on freedom overlooks external constraints, poverty, oppression, systemic inequality. How can one be free when trapped by circumstances beyond their control? Sartre acknowledged these challenges but maintained that even in dire situations, we retain some freedom, if only the freedom to choose our response. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and contemporary of Sartre, echoed this sentiment in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Another critique is existentialism's perceived nihilism. If life has no inherent meaning, why bother? Sartre's response was defiant. Life's lack of predetermined meaning is not a void, but an opportunity. We are free to create our own purpose, to live deliberately and passionately. Existentialism demands that we confront uncomfortable truths about freedom, responsibility, and the absence of inherent meaning. But it also offers hope. By embracing our freedom, we become authors of our lives, capable of authenticity and purpose. As we navigate our own crossroads, Sartre's words remind us of our agency. Life begins on the other side of despair. The question is, how will you use your freedom? What will you create on the blank canvas of your existence? Let's continue this conversation. What does freedom mean to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's explore the possibilities together. If you've enjoyed this video and want to support our work, consider buying us a coffee from the link in the video description. As a token of our appreciation, you'll receive a free ebook of Jean-Paul Sartre's iconic essay, Existentialism is a Humanism. It's a perfect companion to deepen your understanding of Sartre's ideas and explore the empowering philosophy of existentialism. Every contribution helps us continue creating high-quality content and building a community of curious minds. Thank you for your support, and let's keep the conversation alive.